Lovely, hopefully I've not trodden cat poo. As you can probably tell, the renovations here at Verified Build 002 are underway, and there's been quite a few reasonably sized changes already happening. Let's jump inside and take a look. So first things first, you'll probably notice there's something missing around about here, and that's because we have knocked through a big old wall, opening up this space to make for a beautiful kitchen diner, something that was happening a little bit ahead of schedule to my knowledge. There's a big old hole in the ground. So we've got Connor and Phoebe filling this in as we speak, because there was actually a large, well, as you can see, about 1.5 meter cavity underneath the property. It spans pretty much the length of the kitchen diner area, and it's also going to get filled in the living room as well. So there's a big job on our hands to fill this in and bring it back to this wall that is no longer here. You can't just go knocking through walls and just opening up the space. You need to speak to a structural engineer, and you also need to put in the relevant support for the property. So you'll see that we also had a big old steel beam installation that is just the length here. It's a big T with some legs. That all got put in place to support quite literally the rest of the house, allowing us to open up this space. We also had the pleasure of being joined by Jack from Dixon's Engineering, who was responsible for the steel beams. You can check out the conversation that we had with him on the channel. Total cost of the steel, knocking the wall through, getting the guys in, propping the house up, all of that was roughly 4,600 plus VAT. That is the price of opening up this space, all labor in, all parts included. We'll take a close look in a minute, but you can probably see a few cables hanging down. We've also had some first fix electrics been done, and we've also had some first fix plumbing. Let's jump into the living room and take a closer look at what's actually happened. So as we come into the living room, soon to be living room, you can see above us we've got a lot of cables hanging down, again all from the first fix electrics. We're having lots of down lights throughout the entire property, undecided on a few different lights in the kitchen and when it comes to outside, but just want to say a shout out to Collingwood for sponsoring the build and providing the lighting for this property. Let's take a look upstairs. So as we come upstairs, you'll see throughout this property we've now ripped everything out. There's a whole wood wardrobe here, sliding door here, it's all gone. We've had the first fix electrics, like I say. You can see some of the trunking for all the switches, again, more spotlights. But if we look underneath here, we've got signs of the first fix plumbing that's gone in. Lee has placed all that copper pipe. We've got what is essentially known as the heating carcass in place. That leaves us ready for the boiler, the radiators, the sockets and switches and everything like that to get put in place. The next steps will be to plaster some of the walls, so things like this will fill in. Other walls in the property, they're actually not that bad, so we'll keep them as is, but we'll just tidy up all the walls that need doing, and then we can start getting sockets, switches, radiators, boilers, everything like that. Let's just jump into the other room for a second, because we did have a doorway placed that wasn't there before, so let me just show you that. And then here is our brand new doorway. Shout out to Dan and Luke for fitting that. There's no door on here at the moment. This is all boarded in, ready to be plastered, like we were just saying. More exposed brickwork, chased out. This is a great example of the things that are going to be filled in and smoothed off when the plasterer comes in. And we also had Glazing Hub come around and do measuring all the windows. The measurements were already super close to what they already had based on the pictures that we sent over, but they always like to do a site survey. If you want to see that, check it out, it's on the channel. But they came around, checked all the windows, down to what happened with opening up of the kitchen diner space downstairs. The upstairs got lifted up, and what you'll see, there's a crack there which isn't necessarily anything, but if you take a wider look at the window, you'll notice there's a slight, I want to say drop. There's either a drop or a raise, but my assumption is it's dropped on this side. Obviously something's shifted, so we just need to rectify that. On the note of the windows, there's actually a couple of changes to some downstairs that we're going to need to do. So let's go and take a look. So we're back downstairs in the kitchen dining space. You'll see these two windows behind me. The one on the left is lower than the bigger window on the right-hand side. The plan there, reduce the size of the window on the right by a couple of courses of bricks. So the windows are in line on the top. If we also look at the big old steel beams, where the vertical beam reaches the horizontal beam, there's a lot of bolts, a lot of bulk there. So we also need to essentially box and plasterboard over this whole space above the kitchen dining area. That allows us to put the spotlights in. Technically the ceiling will come lower. When we measured it out, it's kind of going to kiss the top of the existing size of that window hole. So we're going to reduce that down by a couple of courses of bricks, making for a more aesthetically pleasing pair of windows. There's still a fair bit of work to be done at the property. Next steps, the floor. It's already being filled in. There's a few days of work on that. It's actually quite a big job because it's surprising how much volume even a square meter contains. Level the cement off, then we can get the flooring prepped with some screed. We've also got to get the plasterer in next so that the electrics and the plumbing can then come in for second fix. If you're excited to see the progress of the property here at Verify Build 002, don't forget to hit the like button, and to make sure you don't miss every video that we have coming out on this renovation, make sure you hit subscribe.